Good afternoon and welcome to ZyLab's webinar on productivity revolution for public disclosure requests. My name is Jeffrey Wolff. I serve as the eDiscovery Director for ZyLab North America, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about public disclosure requests and FOIA and how it relates to eDiscovery and how ZyLab can assist with these requests and reduce the workflow that organizations are currently experiencing. I'll take us through some of the similarities between public disclosure requests and standard eDiscovery for litigation, talk a little bit about why automation is becoming so important, some of the automation best practices, and we'll touch on some brief customer case studies. So just to get started, most of you are probably familiar with the Freedom of Information Act. That's at the federal level for public disclosure requests. Of course, we deal with state and local agencies all the time that have their own public records or public disclosure laws, and they apparently differ from state to state. In fact, I believe there's a different law within each of the 50 states. And a number of counties also have regulations on top of the state laws. But what is interesting is the similarity between public disclosure requests. So the process is very similar regardless of organization or municipality we speak with. Request is submitted to an agency, whether it's a city or county FOIA officer that it goes to. Sometimes the requests go to the police or sheriff's departments. That agency is then required to search within their records, primarily their email, but also loose file system content, content on local computers, looking for records that are responsive. The records are then reviewed for disclosure, and effectively what we mean there is that they're looking, typically they're looking for what they can exempt from those documents. So anything that falls within the state or county statute, or in the case of the federal government, the FOIA statutes, allowing them to exempt certain pieces of information that might be sensitive, reveal any kind of trade secret or personal identifiable information, or any information dealing with a minor. But there are literally, there are some states where I've looked at, there are hundreds of different exemption types that have to be managed. Once that information is taken care of, that exemption is either performed by a redaction to an existing document or a complete exemption of the entire document. The agency in question then responds back to the requester and releases what is disclosable. And this process repeats itself. There is a significant increase in the overlap between FOIA or public records requests and the federal rules of civil procedure that govern litigation. So ZyLab, primarily as an eDiscovery company, has a lot of customers now that are using our technology for responses to public disclosure requests, because the process is effectively the same. When lawyers meet in a litigation, they decide what is discoverable between the two parties. That is most often electronically stored information, what we call ESI. That is again primarily in the form of email, but also other file types. The counsel has to produce that content from one side to the other, and they have to make sure that anything that is privileged or not disclosable is properly redacted or withheld. So it's really a very similar type of process. Just depends on where the content is coming from and who the requesting party is. Most people in the public records world or the FOIA world are not really familiar with the electronic data reference model. And so that's what you have in front of you. This is the EDRM. And this is what's used in the eDiscovery world to govern the workflow process around moving content through the eDiscovery system. So you imagine that all content is managed within the organization. On the left side would be an information governance cycle. Content is created, maintained, retained against records, policies, and then destroyed as necessary. In the case of a eDiscovery request or a litigation, pending litigation, there is a search across the data set where we identify the content that needs to be pulled together. That content is then preserved and collected, typically into an eDiscovery system like a ZyLab solution. where it can be deeply processed. And when we say process, we mean things like unpacking compound objects and making documents that are natively readable, searchable by OCRing them. Bring them into a review environment where the documents can be looked at, analyzed, redacted where necessary, marked as privileged if necessary, marked as exempt in the FOIA world, and then produced out, which is the piece that gets ready for disclosure to either a requesting party, actually it's requesting party regardless of the case. The last bullet, presentation, in the case of a litigation, that data can be presented in court. So that's that last step in the process. ZyLAB actually takes care of really the entire process between the information governance and the presentation. That search, review, and disclosure piece is the bread and butter of what the ZyLAB ONE system is about. And that's why we wind up talking to a lot of public records officers about their needs, because they simply can no longer handle the level of requests that they're getting and perform them in a timely and expeditious manner. Number of procedural issues around dealing with public disclosure requests is most common one is we hear is that the state mandates a certain period of time that the municipality has to respond to the requester. So the timeliness of them being able to find the data they need, perform the review, and then release it is extremely important. The other really important one, of course, is identifying records that meet the exceptions. So human reviewers are only going to be so accurate at making sure that they reviewed every single document, looking for anything that might be potentially exempt, specifically things that might reveal personal identifiable information. That's where automation comes in to really improve the process by allowing you to search for that patterns of data and have automatically found and redacted for you. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone in the level of transparency that we're now dealing with in the world. Transparency requested by most of the public, that the number of FOIA or PRA requests has increased exponentially and will continue to. This graph is only to 2015. But you can probably tell in the most recent years that number that was 600,000 in 2010 and 700,000, over 700,000 in 2015 is probably well over 900,000 now, and if not closer to 1 million requests. A lot of challenges around disclosing public information. Really just the size of the data source, the amount of data that is out there. So as city and county municipalities grow in terms of the amount of data that they create, just like any other corporation, it becomes more difficult to actually search through and find what it is they're looking for. The complexity of the data has changed as well. As I said, discoverable content is typically email. The bulk of it is email, but then there are also other things that are become part of the discoverable matter. Paper documents can be scanned, of course, but things like architectural blueprints or audio and video files, social media posts, these become more challenging to collect and process. It's definitely more difficult to manage. As data gets more distributed, organizations start scaling out the way they store their data. It's not just stored in one location. It's geographically distributed or is out in the cloud. As the timelines get shorter, because citizens demand more and more transparency into how the government operates, a lot of municipalities have reduced the timeline for PRA requests responses. This makes it harder and harder for organizations to stay current with a minimal amount of staff. So they have to be able to do more with less. So reasons to automate. I think we kind of hit that, right? Too much data, too many hits within their documents, no way to really organize the content in such a way. You can't. There's not really relevancy ranking approach that works. This is not like using Google.com where the most relevant hits come up first. If you run search against your data or responsiveness against a public records request, any documents that come back in that search can be responsive. It's not about relevance. It's about making sure that you've searched through everything so that you've disclosed everything you're required to as an organization. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what requests are going to come in. So one year might be very quiet, the next year might be hit with a large number of requests. A number of different languages a lot of municipalities who speak with have to deal with public records requests across information that spans multiple languages, not just English. ZyLAB does actually have a solution that addresses multiple languages, both in textual documents as well as in audio-video files. Spelling variations, misspellings within documents. So if you're running a literal search, you may miss things unless you're running accounting for fuzzy search variables where spelling could be off by a letter or two. Lots of non-textual formats, as I said, audio and video, CAD drawings, PowerPoint, and data that's just geographically spread out into too many locations. Just give you an idea here of, this is the issue at hand. ZyLAB obviously has a solution that addresses this, and that's one of the reasons we present this webinar. This is just to give you a tip of the iceberg kind of understanding of what we bring to the table. The ZyLAB solution has support for over 700 file formats. So regardless of the file type you have within your system, it's going to be able to process it. It's able to support compound and compressed formats. So if you store all your emails in PST files, or if you have a large number of zip files, those compressed formats are still accessible. They can still be unpacked by our system. Embedded object extraction. So if you have a Word document that has an Excel and a Excel spreadsheet as well as a couple of images embedded in it, those can be extracted and linked so that you can search through the data and still be able to find information where it was originally located. I mentioned OCR, non-searchable content, and being able to search audio content as well. Seeing email threading analysis, as we mentioned, email being the largest part of any discovery request, being able to see a threaded conversation, not just the individual messages, is very useful to understanding what the context was for a message's response. Being able to deduplicate is the big one, right? So you might have 10 copies of the same document sitting on your file system in various shared drives or in people's email messages attached as part of email messages. Having a system that is going to hash every document as the documents are processed and make sure that you're only reviewing a unique copy is very important to saving time and making sure you can respond to the request in a timely manner. And then we have a number of advanced analytic tools like the ability to do entity extraction to automatically classify documents based on words or phrases or patterns that might be discovered in the document. The ability to use artificial intelligence to do clustering of concepts together. We have some visual elements that are fairly helpful, like faceted navigation to be able to see a breakdown of your data, or tagging palettes that you can use if you want to do advanced tagging beyond saying this is exempt or this is responsive. Most importantly is redaction functionality, really. So to be able to manually tag documents or manually tag text to be redacted, but more importantly, to be able to automatically redact. So by that, I mean to be able to put in rules that say, if this name or if this word or this phrase appears in the document, automatically redact it with this reason code. Or if this format, like a social security number or a credit card number or a passport number or a driver's license number for your state appears in the document, go ahead and automatically redact that, and then tag the document so I know that I can look at that document very quickly and get to it first. ZyLAB is a flexible software solution that is designed to be deployed either on premises within your firewall or within the private cloud if your organization runs its own Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services private cloud. You can deploy our software there. We also have a multi-tenant SaaS environment located in the continental United States where you don't need any infrastructure. You can simply bring your data, upload it to our system, have it processed, and make it immediately available for review. Once you've done your review, you can export your data right out of it and give it to your requester. A number of our smaller organizations, smaller municipalities, use the multi-tenant SaaS environment so that they can get up and running very quickly without any need to stand up servers or data center. We bring a lot to the table as a solution to address PRA requests. As I said, being able to collect that data up, process it, deduplicate it, make all parts of it searchable, perform what we call in the eDiscovery world early case assessment, so quickly find what's most important about your documents, get that in front of the people that need to review it, to identify personal identifiable information automatically, to review to be able to review and have a quality control process, and then to most importantly, to produce that data out into searchable PDF, allowing your requester to look through it and be able to search the documents that you provide to them. In most jurisdictions, the laws that I've read indicate that the data that is provided to the citizen that requested it has to be produced in a format that they can easily digest, they can easily access. So handing them a CD full of TIFF images is not really ideal. But giving them a bindered PDF or several PDF files that are searchable is an easy, accessible way to do that because they can simply download Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is a free piece of software, on their computer, and they can run their searches against the data you provided. ZyLAB has the ability to collect data from its original location. Now, this is assuming you install our software on premises or in a private cloud. You can do this. However, if you're using Office 365, even if you're an Office 365 customer now, if you use our SaaS product, you can request that we cloud collect directly from your Office 365 tenant. So we are actually hosted in Microsoft Azure in our SaaS product. So we are in the same data centers as Office 365. So you can literally request a cloud collection from your 365 content in Azure to ZyLAB in Azure. And have that automatically processed and made available to you. Or you can actually upload data into the system. The ZyLAB product has a self-service upload functionality that allows you to have the data locally up within your network or on a hard drive. You can upload it. You drag and drop the files right to the step 1 portion of the interface. You assign a custodian name and the name of the source, whether that's file system content, emails, shared drive, hard drive, etc. And then you name the job. Click upload. That data is then pushed through the browser to our servers. It is processed, unpacked, OCR'd, etc., and then made available right in the review platform within minutes. So you can go ahead and then jump right into review. That processing step, I mentioned deduplication is a big part of that. So we're actually, as I said, performing a hash calculation of each document that we process, and checking that hash calculation against the database that's created. Say, hey, is this document unique, or are there other documents with the same hash value in this matter or from the same custodian? You can control that setting. We also have near duplicate analysis. So this allows you to, when you're in the review process, look and see if there are other documents that are similar but not exactly the same to the one that you're currently looking at. And if so, you can jump right over to that document and review. So you can see in this example on screen, the reviewer clicked on that box and saw that there was another document, excuse me, that was 85.4% similar to the original document. So they were able to just click and jump over to that, and perhaps it's just a PDF version of the Word document, or maybe it's a draft version of the document, but you want to make sure that you tag it the same way. You can use our search results screen as a collection report, so you can run a search and then export the results right from the browser as a CSV, so you can hand that as a report to somebody else, and they can open up in Excel, even if they don't have access to ZyLAB. If you want to get very sophisticated, we have we have a very robust automated classification system. You can create rules right through the UI to allow you to classify the documents a certain way. So you can say if this keyword appears or this field has this value in it, go ahead and classify it this way, or pre-tag it even. So you can say, hey, this document contains a social security number. Tag it with this. This document contains the city attorney's name. Go ahead and tag it for review by the attorney. So you can. This is all automated, and this would happen upon ingestion of your data. So it really gives you a way to quickly slice up your data and make it easily accessible to the people who need to look at it. We have a number of data visualization techniques. As you can see here, we have a facet screen, and you're looking at is the faceted analysis of the documents. So you have a breakdown of your data set by, in this case, the data owner, the source, potential exemptions that have been tagged automatically through auto classification rules, as well as showing you how the emails in this data set break down by recipient domain. You can actually navigate through your documents using these facets. What you're seeing on these screenshots is actually ZyLab's new HTML5 interface. So we have recently transitioned our product to a brand new look and feel using HTML5, which means we're now browser agnostic. You can use your favorite desktop browser. You can use your favorite mobile browser. In fact, this works really nicely on an iPad, so you can review on a tablet. And it is responsive design, so regardless of the amount of screen real estate, the image will adjust. You'll see a different number of facets depending on, for example, depending on the size of the screen you're looking at. Using ZyLab, you have the ability to perform quite a number of different search techniques. So your favorite search types are all supported. Of course, keyword search, Boolean search, proximity and wildcard searches. You can see on screen that we're using finance with an asterisk. It's a wildcard. I'm also using fielded search there. So if email send time is greater than or equal to Thursday, July 14th, 2016, and I want to only see messages that were from Daniel. I'm also filtering there, you can see I only want to see documents that have already been reviewed, and I only want to see documents that have been tagged hot. So you can get very specific with your searches. And it's all done through a really simple UI, so it's not overly complicated to create long searches. Of course, as you can see at that price fixing search that we have at the top of the screen, they can be very sophisticated and very intense searches that you can create. And this is actually one search you're looking at, where it starts 3 of. That's actually a quorum search, allowing you to search for any 3 of the following within the document. So only bring back documents that have at least 3 of the following words. And in there, you can see uses of wildcards and proximity, as well as Boolean. This is a screenshot of what the review environment looks like. So when you actually open up a document to look at the document itself, this is the interface for it. And you can see you have your tagging palette on the right. You've got a conversation view of the email thread, as well as the document family. You can see attachments to the document. You can see the properties of the document. The email address and the display name of the person who sent this message was automatically redacted. So you can see it's got blue highlights over it. And you can see that this document was automatically tagged as potentially responsive by the system, probably because it hit on that person's name, the sender's name. More importantly, typically for public records officers, is the ability to automate their redactions and the things that are automatically exempt. So if I want to see any document that has a social security number, for example, you can see I've got a pattern there, 0-9 3 times, followed by hyphen, followed by 2 times, followed by hyphen, followed by 4 times. That's a social security number pattern for the United States. And you can see over here on the document, on the right, where it shows the number in the search hit, and on the left, it shows where it's auto-redacted that content for you. We've actually since this screenshot, we've actually enhanced that functionality. So you also have query macros. Instead of having to remember this phrase or even save it as a search, you can actually use hashtag SSN hashtag. We have a lot of query macros like that where you can type that in place of actually typing out the pattern, the expression pattern. You can also use multi-direction OCR. We have the ability to scan the document not only just in 0-degree portrait mode, but also in 90, 180, and 270 to look for text that is in other axes. So, for example, if you've got construction documents, CAD drawings, plats, real estate plats, things where content might be turned in other directions. This example here on the screen is actually a statement, an invoice that's been scanned, but you notice it was faxed. So there's a fax header on the right side, and the word account, which is what the search criteria was, actually appears both in the portrait mode as well as in that on that side fax header. ZyLAB also has a tightly integrated audio search functionality. So we're able to index audio and video files to look for spoken words. Now, we're not transcribing those. We're not taking speech and turning it into text. What we're actually doing is indexing that content phonetically and then creating a separate index that you can search for audio phrases for. So, for example, they're searching for the phrase municipal website and unique visits in the audio, and you can see there are red bars that appear in the video, in the player beneath the video, that show you where those hits are in this particular video recording, which happens to be, it looks like a city council hearing. Again, I mentioned if you have non-English documents, you have the ability to do automated machine translation within ZyLAB. So we can translate any of about 120 different languages to and from English. And so if you have that service enabled, you can actually process, in this case, Chinese documents, both simplified and traditional, and have them translated to English, and have that attachment, that machine translation attachment to the original document in the system. So you can search against the English. You can actually search against the Chinese, too, natively, without actually even performing the machine translation. But you need a native English, a native Chinese speaker in order to be able to run that search. As I mentioned, ZyLAB also employs some very sophisticated artificial intelligence to do concept clustering and technology-assisted review. Those functions are available. Less utilized typically in the public records world, but topic modeling could be quite useful to just figure out if you have a data set and you don't know where to begin your search. Topic modeling can show you the topics that are clustered together from your data set, what's most important. I mentioned the auto redactions. Here's a quote from one of our customers talking about the amount of time that they save just simply being able to auto redact and find and redact within the data set. Finally, when you're done with your review, you're ready to disclose your content out. We have a 6-step wizard that walks you through producing the content out, lets you decide how you want to output the content, whether it's image in TIFF or PDF format, whether if you want to output the native file or extract text from the file. All of those can be done. You can pick and choose any of those options, and you can control the data, what's embossed on the data as well. And if you want, we can even help you publish that data. If you want to, instead of just sending it back to the requestor, if you want to publish that data to a website, so then it's available to deflect future requests. We have had customers do that with ZyLAB as well. This is one of the sites where the EPA, and they actually take their requests, the public records requests, and publish them right here, and then just send the requestor a link to the site and say, hey, go ahead and the documents you requested are all out here now. Go ahead and run your search. This, like I said, is a great way to deflect future requests and reduce the amount of requests you're getting within the organization in the future. Really quick, just a case study here. One of our very satisfied customers, it's a large city on the west coast of the U.S. They get typically about 18,000 public records requests a year. Plus, they do a lot of internal investigations. Potentially 800 custodians of city employees, and their average case is about 4 to 100 gigs in size. So they're fairly larger matters, and their typical content is email files, office documents. They've got audio and video. And they disclose their content all out in PDF. They were able to reduce their response time by 1/3 just by employing an automation system like ZyLAB. The most important statistic, I think, is the second bullet, where they were able to reduce the duplication from 700 to 100 on a single request. So think about that for a second. If you don't have a system that is looking at all your documents and deduping them for you, you are doing 7 times the amount of work, even if you do everything manually. That is a massively important statistic, because it just shows the potential for wasted time that anyone is doing that is not using some automated technology is going through. But more importantly, they basically eliminated their entire paper review system. Everything is electronic. They streamlined the way that the city employees talk to the paralegals and the attorneys in the office, and they now can use the same workflow. The city had a litigation office that did eDiscovery. They use the same workflow now between the public records and the eDiscovery departments. We have a smaller customer, actually, a county out west, and they use Microsoft Azure as their platform. So they host their ZyLAB installation in Microsoft Azure. All of their content is in Office 365, so the data never comes down to the organization. It stays in the cloud. What they need out of Office 365 is automatically collected into ZyLAB, and then they do their review and they produce out into the cloud. They send the requester the link to that document. So it's never actually downloaded, and they never have to worry about their data being in multiple places. So the solution scales very nicely for larger cities and counties, but also works really well for smaller municipalities. Just to wrap up things as we get here to the end, the benefits of using a solution like ZyLAB is we can integrate with your open source or third-party case management tools if you have any case management tools. Most importantly, I think we can collect and search directly from email boxes in Office 365. You can upload content from file shares and other repositories. We can do that automated classification of documents to show you a breakdown by custodian or by department or by document type. We can identify automatically personal identifiable information and protected health information and automatically redact it for you. We have a number of easy-to-use productivity features. The review interface is simple, it's clean, it's easy to get to use. The learning curve for the ZyLAB system is actually quite short. We can typically get a reviewer up and running who's never seen our system within an hour or two. They can become an expert within a week. But most importantly, I think you can actually you can really run powerful searches against your data set. You can share those results easily within the organization. We have a really nice knowledge community set up online for users and anyone who's interested in learning more about it. You can actually sign up to join the ZyLAB community even if you're not a customer yet. Have access to our knowledge base, some of our videos, community forums, etc., and learn more about the solution and about best practices for FOIA and public records requests. We also have an ebook that we've published on this topic, which I think is great reading for anyone who might be interested in learning more about it. It is complimentary. You can download it at zylab.com/resources/ebooks. And with that, I think we are all wrapped up for today. If you're interested in a more detailed, personalized demonstration of the ZyLAB system, or if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Contact information will be in the link provided with this webinar recording. Thank you for your time today, and have a good day.